Hi there, it's Kevin with the Rogue Market here with a video today about timing in Magic the Gathering Finance. When is the right time to buy into specific cards and where that is more important, anchoring the price point to the contents rather than being focused too much on the contents themselves. Now, a lot of people did not like Signature Spellbook Chandra, thought that they included some pretty terrible choices and the price just wasn't worth it for Signature Spellbook. We got it to realize that when this product was actually released, there was about $40 to $50 worth of stuff. You can see right here, this is the $50 price point when Signature Spellbook was released, of content in a product that was meant to sell for $25. So they gave double the value in cards for this sealed product. Now, a lot of people still don't understand, how does that happen? How does $50 come down to $17? Well, it's all about supply and demand. When there is not the demand for the cards to actually eat up the supply, then the natural economics will find that line, find that price point of where the demand and the supply are the same. Well, demand is something in Magic the Gathering that strips the supply because cards are damaged or lost, or new people quit the game and cards go in closets and new players join the game and need these cards. And eventually you'll see cards that do not get reprinted will have that steady trajectory up. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Before we talk about it, I want to give an apology for being inactive on the Rogue Market channel. This mainly has to do with my Patreon blowing up, and it was just a lot more lucrative to be focusing on that than trying to play the whole MG Finance game. However, I do want to come back to it. I did have a little bit of a falling out with Magic the Gathering as far as the actually playing the game. I've talked about on my Rogue Deck Builder channel that without paper Magic, I was playing a lot of MTG Arena and MG Online. And variance, when you're not face-to-face with players, and then variance is everything, and that's the whole connection of the game, there are just a lot of better online games to play than Magic the Gathering, in my opinion. In my opinion, the magic comes with the Gathering, and when you take that out, it is not the same, and I just got really frustrated with the staleness of Pioneer, Standard, and Modern, and it just led to just some I don't know, a lull in my kind of zeal for Magic the Gathering, and that kind of translated over to the finance world. So I'm going to try to be an adult here and separate my feelings with how I feel about Magic the Gathering and still at least keep up this MG Finance channel, because I love this topic. I love, buying and selling things. I got to do a whole video about this sometime, about how I wasted so much of my life, trying to find a career, trying to find what, I thought I was good at. When I was a kid, I just loved to buy and sell things. I remember when I was in elementary school, I used to go up in the hill and find crystals and then come home and sell them to people. And one time I was almost suspended in middle school because we ran an operation out of my locker where we sold candy and undercutted the cafeteria. And then when the principal found out, they confiscated all of our candy and whatnot. But we made some pretty good profits back then. It was then I knew that I wanted to be, I really enjoyed finding deals, buying deals, and then, marking it up and selling it for a profit. So I think I'm going to focus more on this Rogue Market channel than I am on my Rogue Deck Builder channel. Of course, I do have the Gone Rogue Games channel too. This is going to be more geared towards my local game store as well as my patrons. So if you are a patron, or you do patron or you do come into my store, whatever the word I'm looking for there, that's a more channel that's geared towards you. However, we're going to revive this channel with the Rogue Market. I'm going to try to do videos weekly on here for topics that I think are relevant to the finance world. Another thing that's been going on is coronavirus has just been so crazy with how it's affected the prices. We're seeing the inflation of the dollar really affect Magic the Gathering prices, where everything across the board is going up. And we do have a set called Double Masters that we're going to need to keep an eye on that I think is going to cause double the problems that Ultimate Masters did. If we actually look back of Ultimate Masters, it caused a significant bear market in the Magic the Gathering paper market, and all prices, both sealed, reserve list, and just Modern, Standard, Pioneer, Commander, all across the board went down because everyone was funneling money into Ultimate Masters. And I think the exact same thing is going to be with the Double Masters. To give you a little bit of transparency, my patrons want $18,000 worth of Ultimate or Double Masters. I don't think there's a chance that I'm going to be able to get that many Double Masters, but that just shows you kind of the appetite that even my small Patreon has for the Double Masters product. So again, if you are in the market for buying the sealed product, you can definitely come over and check out my Patreon. It 100% now funds everything, and I've just been blown away by the amount of patronage we've been able to receive in the last year. So anyway, let's talk about Signature Spellbook now that I've gone off a tangent here. So Signature Spellbook, timing. So I think timing is the most important thing in Magic the Gathering. You should be more focused on the price point rather than the contents, like I said earlier in the video. And a lot of these cards are actually looking pretty good to start investing in for Signature Spellbook. So you can compare Signature Spellbook to some of the spellbooks of the past. It's on par. People think that the Jace's spellbook was such an awesome spellbook, but you got to remember too that this one also went down to that $17. So it seems like it doesn't really matter what the contents are. So what's going to happen when they release these signature spellbooks at these high supply lines is they're going to come out with, this one did have significantly more value. I think it was around $70 when this one came out, and it was crushed down to $17. And a lot of these cards also had a hard time recovering. Now you look at Jace's Spellbook and you look at Mystical Tutor and be like, wow, this card is just so expensive. It just makes those signature spellbooks a snap buy. Well, look what happened when it got released. It got down to a $5 card. If you could take $13 off the equity for the value of the signature spellbook Jace, you are already down to so it's a $13 change. That's down to the $17 mark right there. So that is the only reason that Jace's Spellbook has been able to look like it's such a great buy, is the Mystical Tutor. And it took a while for that, a couple years for it to finally start to accrue value. And then now it's looking like Signature Spellbook Jace's. Well, what's happened too is the sealed product of Jace's Spellbook has just gone through the roof. I think these ones, yeah, they're going for like $60. That's correct. $50 to $60 on eBay, anywhere between the 40 and 60 to buy a sealed Signature Spellbook Jace. All right, so the other contents out of Jace's Spellbook also have been able to start to tick up here with the Counterspell. It had a little bit of an uptick here, went all the way down to $2, and now it's back up to $3.50. And some of these other ones, though, have a hard time going up, because I actually think this is the worst one. Without Mystical Tutor, if you look at the rest of the contents, this is the one that's the hardest to actually go up, because it's got some ban cards here like Gifts Ungiven in Commander. And right now, with Rona going on, Commander is the only shining light for paper Magic. The rest of the formats, Modern, Standard, Pioneer, have had a tough time without organized play, as well as them just continually being wrecked by these new sets. Euro disrupting Modern, the Companions, of course, disrupting everything across the board, and we've had some problematic cards with every set that's been released since, like Modern Horizons, for those particular sets or those particular formats, for finding a nice little balance between the meta. So there are also some kind of lackluster cards as Jace Beleren. I'd actually think that's probably the worst one as far as been printed. I think Gideon Jura is slightly better than Jace Beleren, and now we have a good one in the form of Chandra. But Negate, here's kind of the new art common that is used heavily in multiple formats. Very lackluster because there's so many negates that you can use, like textless negates, that are probably just more spicy than this Jace looking negate. And then Blue Elemental Blastus doesn't have the appeal that like Red Elemental Blast does, because countering red spell in Commander is just not as important as countering the most popular color. So the least popular color versus the most popular color. And then Threads of Disloyalty is a very, very niche card in Modern. So these ones had some weird inclusions. Brainstorm, of course, is a pretty decent one. But again, there's so many Brainstorms over the history of Magic to choose from that's what's suffering from the Brainstorm. We take a look over at Gideon's Spellbook. This is another one that I think is still a pretty good buy. Believe it or not, the supply of Signature Spellbook Gideon is still high. I can still get this from distributors. I think the price is a little bit higher than the Chandra Spellbook. I think I can still get Chandra Spellbook for $14, and Gideon Spellbooks are like $16, I think is what I can get it for. I'll have to check the pricing on that. But this is one that also focused heavily on Modern rather than on Commander. So you have Martyr's Bonds and Worship. Worship is a card that does see playing Commander, and Martyr's Bond as well is a very, very good card that sees playing Commander. Both of these I think are great pickups. They've hit their lows now at the 75 cents and 50 cents about for these Worship's Martyr's Bond. And so you can get in good deals on these. I think these are both cards that are going to be cards you should pick up. Gideon Jura 2 actually does see some significant play in Commander, but probably not significant enough to make this card increase in price before they reprint it. That's been the problem with Gideon Jura, is not that it's a terrible card, that it's just been reprinted like crazy. And I think that's what Signature Spellbook Gideon is suffering from more than anything, is the reprints, especially mystery boosters. There are many cards that were reprinted in Mystery that were in Signature Spellbook Gideon. And you can see too that Gideon's been in like this Arch Enemy Nicol Bolas and has been promos before, and Yeah, it suffered from that more than anything for Gideon. So that's been the name of the game for Signature Spell. Gideon is mystery booster boxes. I think hit like Path to Exile. It hit it hit Martyr's Bond. Yep, that's the one it hit too. But we do have some good news for like True Conviction and Blackblade Reforged. Both of these have started to accrue value, so there has been some movement for the Signature Spell Gideon. I do give the nod long term to Signature Spellbook Gideon over Jace. So it does have some cards that if they do dodge reprints, I think can be the mystical tutor type trajectories. It might not be an $18 card, but you might be able to see like Blackblade Reforged go up to $4 and True Conviction go up to $4 before it gets a reprint. Again, the problem with the True Conviction is that is another card that seems to get included in commander decks quite regularly. All right, so let's go over now to the topic hand, which is Signature Spellbook Chandra. So Signature Spellbook Chandra came out with that $50 equity or $50 value, box value, and has been crushed down to 17. It does seem to have hit its bottom. I don't know, maybe this could go down a little bit more with all the products coming out. This is one that's going to be forgotten about. This also got a scathing review from Tolarian Community College that has a lot of market influence, and a lot of people think that this is kind of a trashy product. However, I think that this has the best Planeswalker that has been included in a Signature Spellbook. Torch Defiance has had some reprints already, though. It's been in a Challenger deck. It's been in those promo packs quite often. I think it's still in the current promo packs. So what I mean by promo packs is, well, maybe it's not in the promo packs. Maybe they don't have the it wasn't the old ones for sure. It's the ones they give out for FNM. So they've been including Pioneer and Modern cards in those, and Commander cards in the promo packs that stores give out for participation. And I thought Chandra was in here, but I guess not. But this definitely was in the Challenger decks, and that's one of the main reasons why Chandra is low. But you can see that the Challenger deck actually had a bit of recovery before the Signature Spellbook. So it hit its real low here from Challenger decks. Went down to $11 and it went down again from 13 and then started to go back up after. This is the Pioneer craze where Chandra thought that Chandra was going to see more play than it did. Still pretty good inclusion in many modern decks and in many Pioneer decks. You can see it sees playing both of them. And it did start to go back up, and then this is when Signature Spellbooks was spoiled, and then it just got crushed. And this card, particularly from the Kaladesh, probably will meet the Signature Spellbook before either one of them will start to go up. So you definitely want to start checking the price of the TC market price for Chandra Torch of Defiance from Kaladesh to see when it finds its bottom. But anyway, this one is the best as far as comparing it to Gideon Jura and comparing it to Jace Beleren. I think it's the best one that's been printed. Now we get to the stinker stuff of the contents of the Signature Spellbook Chandra. Yes, there are the negates, the Cathartic Reunion. It didn't get new art. It's just the old school Kaladesh one. But this was a card before it was reprinted in the Ikoria that was going up in value. It got reprinted also in Mystery Booster, but it was one that did start to see movement. And that is because it is highly, highly played in the Commander format, which we'll take a look at in a second. And I'd actually like to argue that none of these were actually stinker cards. Rite of Flame was a little bit weird for an inclusion. It's mainly just a legacy playable card. It did get new art, but I don't think it's a terrible inclusion. Young Pyromancer is also a card that when it doesn't get reprinted, it does go up, but that's the problem. This card has just been reprinted too much. So that's one of the reasons I don't like the Signature Spellbook as far as in the sealed form, because I see a hard time for some of these cards that need to go up in value to justify the price tag of the Signature Spellbook Chandra. You're really banking on the Chandra Torch of Defiance becoming like a $20 or $25 card again before I think the sealed contents of Signature Spellbook are worthwhile of picking up. But there are 3 cards in here that I particularly do like as investments if we can find their bottom, if they're going to go down a little bit further, that I think are going to accrue value over the next couple of years if they miss reprints. And that's Fire Confluence, Pyroblast, and Past in Flames. So if you come over here to Top Red Cards on EDH Rec, which is a site you should definitely become familiar with, these cards are all in these top cards. Fire Confluence barely misses it, but it's still a top 100 card. But as far as top 50 cards in red, all of these cards are top cards. You see Pyroblast is included in 7% of all red decks. It's also a very, very heavily played card in Pauper. You never know if Wizards, if Organized Play does come back and they do support Pauper for a big tournament, you see these type of cards be the first ones to go up in value. Cathartic Reunion is right there as well, so you can include that one in the list. But with the Ikoria printing, I just think it's going to take a long, long time for Cathartic Reunion to be worth anything. But if you can see here, we do start to see some good ones in the form of, we have Chandra Torch of Defiance, which is in 5% of all decks for, it looks like it's actually the most played red card in Commander too for Planeswalker. So when people are building red decks, Chandra Torch of Defiance is a shoo-in. And we do have the Pass in Flames that, now where do I see Pass in Flames? It wasn't too far down, I thought. The Pass in Flames also makes this list. I thought it was higher up with Past in Flames. Let's see here. There's Reforge the Soul. Wow. Now that's embarrassing. I had it pulled up with Past in Flames, but it definitely does make this. There it is. Past in Flames. 4% of all decks is Past in Flames, and it was reprinted in this Commander set here. So let's take a look at Past in Flames. So Past in Flames looks very similar to Mystical Tutor. It is reprinted here in Commander 2016. So it went down from $4 all the way down to $2. Now look at this trajectory. Look at this steady, steady increase. These are the type of cards that I love in Magic the Gathering Finance, because it's not one of those things that gets bought out because of Modern and then has to have a price readjustment. It did have this huge increase here from the War of the Spark to Throne of Eldraine, probably because this is where the supply ran out from Commander 2016 and had this jump. But then right then here was where Chandra's Spellbook was announced, and this was spoiled, and of course it just got crushed. So if we look at the Signature Spellbook Chandra, this is a very tempting price point. Started off at $6, went down to $1.66. TC market price now has them at, a lot of 4-of copies for $1. That is a very, very intriguing price point to get it on. There's a lot of supply. You can see that people did crack, these stores did go ahead and crack these Signature Spellbook Chandras to try to turn that initial investment into the 40. So basically a little bit of math experiment. If you can get 85% of your value back, out of 40, let's say after fees, ends up being 50% of it ends up being net profit out of your $14 investment. You end up making about $6 per box. Maybe it's worthwhile for the labor to buy your allotment. At first, these were allocated to stores. I believe I got, I don't know, I want to say in the 30s or 40s worth of Chandra Spellbooks as a mid-level local game store. So these stores, they got 80 copies, decided they didn't have they didn't want to try to sell them as far as the box price or the sealed contents of it, broke them apart. Got to also include that there is a foil card that does add value to these Signature Spellbooks. Cracked them all, sold them all, made $6-7 profit per box, and came out with a $200 haul from that. You'll see a lot of these stores. Many of these stores are fake, actually. So what I mean by fake stores is they claim to actually run a local game store, but they're not. They're just running an online store, so they'll get their allocations and then immediately crack everything. Many of them also like to play that game rather than try to go the sealed route. There's a lot of shipping on sealed compared to singles, and there oftentimes is a lot bigger headache with the sealed rather than going the singles route. So this is definitely my pick for cards you should look at, because Pass in Flames does have that 4% inclusion in the Commander decks. Every time they print something with spells in the graveyard, Pass in Flames gets a lot more lucrative. So a lot of those Izzet commanders always have that theme of recasting spells from graveyards. It also is a card that does see a lot of play in Modern here with the Gift Storm deck. And that's a great double dipping here with Commander and then Legacy as well. So Commander, Legacy, and Modern do have a lot of demand for the Pass in Flames. And so this card dodges reprints. That's the name of the game now in Magic the Gathering. If Pass in Flames dodges reprints, which I think it will because they've killed the equity of this card, then I think it's definitely a buy right now for that dollar mark. If you can get it on 50 cents to 75 cents or the foil ones, so let's see what the foil ones are going for. $5 if you can come over here to the market price for them. If you can find these copies of the foiled ones for like $3. Oh, let's go. Let's click on foil. That is definitely a buy. Right now, the lowest one's $5.29. But for whatever reason, if another seller comes in, undercuts this one significantly, like $5 and maybe $4 for it, yeah, I'd say $3 to $4 would be the price point to start making a move on these foil Past in Flames. So again, that's kind of my rundown of how I analyze products when they come out. Like Commander 2019 is another one I got to do a price analysis on. I'm really starting to like Commander 2019 in the sealed product form because we do have the Docksized Extortionist now. Right, that was Commander 2019. We have a lot of good cards from Commander 2019 that I think are worthwhile to start investing in. The particular singles have already gone back up, but the sealed product is kind of lagging behind. I believe I can still get Commander 2019 in the $95 range, and often I can get deals on them, which I think is pretty steal of a deal for a commander, because all commander sets have like those staple commons that or like the soul rings and the Swiftfoot boots that always go up until another commander set is printed to hit the price back down of those cards. So that'll be a topic for another day. Again, I'll try to be doing these videos on a weekly basis. Maybe I can get back in the swing of things of doing it on a daily basis and give you some kind of tips and tricks for MG Finance. I'll probably dip my feet back in it. Again, I've been selling singles for a while, but selling singles was the what started the store. Was able to flip cards, and now it's more lucrative to try to spend my time fulfilling orders. It's just the cost versus time versus the future of my platform is just a lot more rewarding right now. Trying to go after the patrons rather than trying to flip cards like I used to. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, we'll be looking at more videos on here in the Gone Rogue channel. If you haven't subscribed to the Gone Rogue channel, we're doing a lot of reviews. So you want to see some behind the scenes from my local game store, as well as product reviews, come over to Gone Rogue Games. It's kind of low tier content at the moment. We just point and shoot, so not a lot of edited things or whatnot. Kind of similar to the rest of my channels. But if you're in the market for that type of content, definitely come and check it out. And if you are in the market for Magic Gathering sealed product, definitely come out take a look at my Patreon, patreon.com/roguedeckbuilder, and there are some steal of a deals. Right now, if you join, there's probably zero chance you're getting double masters. It is kind of like a longevity thing of people that have been patrons for longer get the first dibs at the newer products. But, if you sign up now, who knows what, comes out in the future. Triple masters, you might be in line for that over the newer patrons that come out after you. Anyway, go check that out, patreon.com/roguedeckbuilder. Thanks for watching.